Grand Duchess Maria Teresa got her revenge on her mother-in-law after years of suffering. Countess Maria Teresa of Luxembourg. Not only did she marry the heir to the throne of Luxembourg, but she also had to deal with a huge reputational problem and the untimely deaths of her two brothers, thus her rise to the ducal family's pinnacle was far from peaceful. Despite her Cuban ancestry, this European queen had a difficult journey to wear the tiara. Her mother-in-law, the former Grand Duchess Josephine Carlot, was largely to blame for her misfortunes over the years. The royal family of Luxembourg, including Grand Duke John of Luxembourg, was deeply affected by the strained relationship between Josephine and Maria Teresa, a wealthy Cuban woman who lacked any royal lineage. The difficult life of Josephine Charlotte, daughter of King Leopold III of Belgium and Princess Asd, began with her birth into the royal family. Her childhood and youth were marked by the premature death of her mother and the abdication of her father. Against this backdrop, when the possibility of marrying her off to the heir to the throne of a neighboring country was considered, the Belgian princess accepted. No one envisioned that John of Luxembourg and Josephine Charlotte would become one of the most amorous couples in European royal history. They had 5 children, and a marriage that withstood criticism and crisis until Maria Teresa came along. Maria Teresa came from a wealthy Cuban family. Her father was a banker who left their country when the future Grand Duchess was only 3 years old. Despite more than a solid bank account which allowed her to study political science in Geneva in the same class with the heir to the Luxembourg throne, Prince Henri, the origin of the young Cuban girl became the subject of criticism of her mother-in-law to her daughter-in-law. No matter how hard she tried, and knowing the character of the Grand Duchess, she certainly tried. There were rumors of strained relations between Josephine Carlot's mother and daughter-in-law that gained traction, particularly following the arrival of a real princess to the family seal, and on Valentine's Day 1981, her son and little Cuban were married at St. Mary's Cathedral in Luxembourg. Josephine Carlot was unable to dispel these rumors. A careful mother-in-law to William's wife, to whom she even lent an umbrella when it rained, and a careless lender of jewelry to Maria Teresa, who, on top of everything else, gave her 5 grandchildren and became heir to the title of Grand Duchess, were the characteristics displayed by the Grand Duchess, daughter of Princess Olympia Tonia and granddaughter of Infanta Beatrix of Bourbon and Battenberg, who wed William of Luxembourg in 1994. Throughout 2000, with the blessing of the new monarch, Maria Teresa's husband, now a Grand Duchess, abdicated and the kingdom was ruled by her. This was followed by 15 newspapers specifically chosen for the occasion, which served as Maria Teresa's vengeance throughout the 2000s. While appearing in an article titled, Lady Di, Maria Teresa broke down in tears in front of the journalists and spilled the beans about her mother-in-law during an informal dinner she hosted for 15 editors from different newspapers. Maria Teresa left Luxembourg and settled in Cuba to bolster her statements after enduring every kind of rejection, hurtful nickname, and reproach directed at the former Grand Duchess. She even attempted to end her marriage to her son multiple times and spread rumors that he was having an affair with one of her government ministers. Josephine Carlot's public declaration of animosity against her son and daughter-in-law, in which she essentially called them idiots and said they couldn't communicate, was featured prominently in numerous periodicals. This story of Maria Teresa, Duchess of Luxembourg, illustrates how personal conflicts and family dramas can impact the public image and internal dynamics of royal families. Upon marrying the heir to the throne, Maria Teresa encountered rejection from her mother-in-law, the former Grand Duchess Josephine. The conflict arose from differences in background and, possibly, class. The Grimaldus and Windsor were taken aback by this development. Sadly, Maria Teresa's relationship with Josephine Carlot never fully recovered after this journalistic dinner. When Josephine Carlot died in 2005, her daughter-in-law never publicly mentioned her. The story highlights the destructive and complicated nature of family conflicts, even at the highest levels of society. It also reminds us of the importance of mutual respect and understanding in family relationships, regardless of social status or background. Despite all the difficulties, Maria Teresa was able to maintain her marriage and continue her role in the royal family, although with some indelible marks from the past. Maria Teresa's experience with prejudice marred her life for many years, and the situation escalated to the point where she decided to publicly expose her mother-in-law, marking the first major royal scandal in Luxembourg's history.